Terraform is one of the most popular ISA tools out there, and if you have just started working with Terraform, you may be asking yourself whether you are doing things in right way. So in this video, I will explain you Terraform best practices that will improve your Terraform workflows immediately and make you feel more confident when using Terraform in your projects. So let's get started. Let's start with Terraform state and state files. Terraform is a tool that automates infrastructure creation using Terraform state file. When you change configuration in Terraform state, it compares your desired state configuration with current infrastructure change and figure out plan to make those desired change. State file is simple JSON file which looks like this, and it has infrastructure resources that Terraform manages for you. Because it's a simple JSON file, technically you could make adjustment to the state file manually changing stuff. However, first best practice is only change state file content through Terraform command execution. Do not manually manipulate, otherwise you will land up into unexpected situation. You might be wondering, where does this state file come from? Who creates it? When you first execute Terraform apply command, Terraform automatically creates a state file and locally stores it. But what if you are working in a team, so other team members also need to execute Terraform commands and they also need the Terraform state file for that. In fact, every team member needs latest file before making their own updates. So the second best practice is to configure a remote shared storage for the state file. Every team member has access to execute Terraform commands using the shared state file. Edge backend for state file can be Amazon S3 bucket, Terraform Cloud, Blob Storage, or Google Cloud Storage, and many more. Terraform can be configured to use these remote locations to store state file. If two team members are doing the concurrent changes on same Terraform state file, we land up into conflict and may face state file corruption also. To avoid changing Terraform state at the same time, we have the next best practice, which is locking the state file until the update is fully complete and unlock it for the next commands. This way, you can avoid concurrent edits to your state file. In practice, you will have this configured in your storage backend in S3 bucket. For example, DynamoDB service is automatically used for state file locking. But note that not all storage backends support this, so be aware choosing remote storage for your state file locking. If it is supported, Terraform will lock your state file automatically. What happens if you lose state file? Something will happen to your remote storage, or the data will get overridden accidentally, or data may get corrupted also. To avoid this, next best practice is to back up your state file. In practice, you can do this by enabling versioning for it, and many storage backend will have such a feature like S3 bucket. For example, you can simply turn on versioning feature. This means that you can also have a nice history of the state changes, and you can reverse to any previous Terraform state you want to. Great, now you have your state file in shared remote location with locking enabled and file versioning for backup. So you have one state file for your infrastructure, but usually you will have multiple environments like development, testing, and production. So which environment does the state file belongs to? Can you manage all environments with one state file? This is the next best practice. Use one state dedicated per environment, and each state file will have its own storage backend with locking and versioning configured. Let's see next best practice. When you are working on a Terraform script in a team, it's important to share code in order to collaborate effectively. So as the best practice, you should actually host Terraform script or code into its own Git repository. This is beneficial for effective collaboration in a team, but also get versioning for your infrastructure code. Now, who is allowed to make changes to Terraform code? Can anyone just directly commit changes to Git repository? Best practice is actually to treat your Terraform code just like your application code. It means you should have some process for reviewing and testing the changes in your infrastructure code as you have for application code with a continuous integration pipeline that merge requests to integrate code changes. This allows your team to collaborate and produce quality infrastructure code which is tested and reviewed. Great, you have tested and reviewed the changes. Now, how do you apply these changes to the actual infrastructure? Because eventually you have to update your infrastructure with those changes, right? So this is the final best practice is to execute Terraform commands to apply changes in a continuous deployment pipeline. So instead of team members manually doing the infrastructure changes or executing the Terraform commands from their own computer, it should happen only from an automated pipeline. This way you have a single location from which all infrastructure changes happen. Here is a summary of all best practices that we discussed. Thank you. Thanks for watching.